Okay, dear, how are you today? It's a new year. Did you have an easy fast? Oh, it was a difficult one for me this year, I have to say. The hours were going by slowly. I tried not to think about it and really tried to focus on, you know, looking internally and thinking about changes, but it was a hard one this year, I have to say. Now, I know you were sealed in the book of life. I know that, okay? I know you, dear. And I'm glad to hear that it was an easy fast this year. Now, I'm sorry if you hear any noise. The window is shut, but sometimes you can still hear the cars passing by, people chatting. I mean, it's a lovely neighborhood, of course. You've seen. Very lovely neighborhood. I really shouldn't complain, but I probably will continue to do so. Okay, so dear, what we're gonna do today is, now that it's a new year, I don't want to just do the traditional matchmaking the way I've been doing it. I'm trying something new this year, okay? So we're gonna do a personality test and assessment. So I'm gonna have a quiz, and this is just gonna help me get a sense of what your main interests are, what some of your preferences are, and what you're really looking for. And I'm gonna ask that of everyone that I'm doing matchmaking for, and not that you have to match up with everyone, okay? I'm not gonna look at each quiz and say, oh, they checked all 10 of these boxes, so obviously they're a match. Obviously not everyone's gonna line up perfectly, but it is gonna help me get a sense of people's preferences, if there's something that they're really looking for, if there's something that is really important to them, and that will really help with doing these matches. I know you had that breakup all of a sudden that was quite devastating. How are you doing? Dear, I'm glad to hear that, okay? Yeah, you think maybe Yom Kippur had something to do with that? Yeah, and I'm glad to hear. It sounds like you're working on some other things to take your mind off it, and that's really good. It's good to get out there and just do you. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, now, before we get to the quiz, there's a few things I have to do, okay? Now, I know you're very bright, but I'm doing this for everyone. I just want to make sure that everyone that I'm talking to is lucid and understanding. Okay, so I'm going to show you some images. Some drawings, and I just want you to tell me what they are. It might be very, very obvious to you, but just tell me what they are, okay? So, can you tell me what this is? Yeah, you see? Olive branches. Let me skip ahead a second. We'll start with the easier ones. Can you tell me what this is? Grapes, yes, okay. Now, can you tell me what this is? Maybe a little more difficult, okay? I'm not the best, yes, I did draw these. I'm not the best artist. Can you tell what these are? Figs, yes. Thank you. I feel really flattered that you could tell. And then this one here. Can you, oops, sorry, yeah, those were the grapes, but this one right here, what is this? Pomegranate. Okay, one more. This right here. Yes, that is a shin, and can you tell what's going on with it on the background there? Yes, the Shema Israel. Okay. Okay, very good. Now, there's one more thing before we do the quiz, okay? Hold on a second. Now this time I'm going to show you some other images, but you're not going to tell me what they literally are, okay? Because some of them, they have quite an artistic license to them. They're not supposed to quite be literal. So when you see them, I want you to tell me how they make you feel, okay? All right. Let's start with this one here. It's a little dusty. I'm sorry, I haven't used it in a minute. This collage. How does this make you feel? Okay. And this image here. Yes, I did paint this. Thank you. I think it's one of the better paintings I've done, actually, so thank you. Now, how does it make you feel? Okay. Okay. And thank you. I really appreciate the compliment. I worked hard on that. Okay. Let's see. Let's put that one. I've got 2 more for you. Okay. And that says corn. Okay. Okay. And finally, I'm really curious to see how this one makes you feel, okay? How does this one make you feel? Yeah, that is an eye. It is a face, but how does it make you feel? And there's no right or wrong answer, and I won't be offended if it makes you feel uncomfortable. Sometimes art is supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. Well, not supposed to, but it's okay to feel that way. Oh, interesting. Okay, okay. I appreciate that. Yeah. Wow, this has really dug up a lot of complex feelings, huh? Not just like a one-word answer. It's really evoking something. Well, I take that as a compliment as the artist, because art, I hope it evokes feelings, and this one evoked a lot, so thank you very much. Okay. And thank you for sharing that. It just helps me get a sense of your temperament and the way you interpret things when you see them. You know, people might have very different reactions to the same painting, and not that that means you can't be a match. Someone could really, really feel positive feelings and someone else could feel negative, and that doesn't mean that you can't be a match. You might match in a bunch of other ways, but if you don't match in that way and you're not matching in a lot of other ways, maybe you're not a good parent, so it's just helpful to have. Okay, I've got my book back. I think this is apparently moleskin, but I don't know what that means. I don't think it comes from a mole. It feels kind of nice. I mean, it feels like nice quality. All right, let me go to, okay. So, my dear, let me write your name down. Okay, so, first question, very simple, I promise. What's your birthday? Okay. Okay, so, no, it's not about like your zodiac sign, okay? We're not doing that kind of thing. I just want to know what your age is, really. Oh, and I should put this too. I didn't actually initially put this as a question, but I'm going to add it now and do this for everyone else. Is there an age gap limit? Like you don't want someone with a certain number of years in between you? Okay, yeah, that. Okay, that makes sense. That's reasonable. Okay, now, what's your favorite activity to do? I'm talking like your leisure time, not at work. What's your favorite thing to do? And it's okay if it's more than one thing, yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, what's your favorite color? Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes my favorite color changes, or it's kind of like there's one consistent one, but then sometimes I see a color and it's so beautiful and I'm in love with it. And then I'm like, is that my favorite color? But then I always go back to the other one. Okay, Yeah. Now, do you prefer, and it's okay if you like both, but just on average, which one do you prefer more? Would you prefer more going hiking or going on a leisurely stroll? Okay. But you're okay with hiking sometimes? Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm not a big outdoorsy girl myself, but you know, sometimes hiking is really nice and it's nice exercise and you get a beautiful view at the end. I always say the worst part about going on a hike is going back down, hard on your knees, easy to fall over. You want to make sure you have like a walking stick. I think that really helps. Make sure you have really good hiking boots. I mean, ones that like come up to your ankles because it provides ankle support. I'm just saying, okay? This is what I've learned. Okay, next question. Now again, you can like both, but this is just meant to be on average. Which one you prefer? Do you prefer books or movies? You know, I appreciate that. I think sometimes people are a bit snobby about that answer. It's okay to like books. It's okay to read a book and say the book was better than the movie, but you know, movies have budgets. They're limited. They have a time limit. There's a lot that goes into them, and they're limited. And I think people can make some really beautiful film adaptations, even if they don't quite match the book. It's really a high ask to have it match the book perfectly. I don't even know if that's possible. So I appreciate your perspective on that. But of course, you still like reading books? Yeah, I know what you mean. I'll read them and enjoy them, but then I never want to read them. It feels like work. It doesn't feel like a passive activity. Okay, now, are there any sports that you really like to play or you really like to watch? Okay. Live, yeah. I like to watch that live too. Okay. Now tell me what your music tastes are. Now don't say you like everything. I think that's, we think we like everything and then someone puts on some music we hadn't even considered was music and then we don't like it. So what is the type of music you like to listen to the most? It's okay if it's more than one genre, just like the ones you gravitate to the most. They're on your Spotify list or whatever a lot. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice listening. Okay, now, do you think you prefer living in a city, a suburb, or a really rural area? Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes when you get older, it changes, so you think you're leaning more to the city now, but you could see maybe down the line in a suburb close to the city, not too far away. Yeah, I get that. Okay. Let me go on to the next page now. You're doing great. I'm loving the energy you have right now. Very calming, okay? I'm feeling calm talking to you, so thank you. Okay. Big question here. You ready? Do you want children in the future? It doesn't have to be right now, okay? Don't freak out. It doesn't have to be right now. It doesn't even have to be in the next 2 years, okay? But do you think you eventually want children? And if so, how many? Is there a range? Okay. Okay, now this is about style, not just clothing style, but kind of like decor decor, the way you design your home, things like that. Just kind of overall aesthetics. Do you prefer flashy or modest? And by modest, I don't mean covering up. I mean just kind of like the opposite of flashy. So flashy would be like really in your face, modest a little more minimal. I guess there could be something in between too. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, I'm writing a lot on this one. I gotta write in the margins. Okay, okay. Great, great. Okay. Now, do you prefer, in general, in your life, when you're walking around, when you're at work, when you're at home, when you're doing social events, do you prefer fast pace or slow pace? Okay. I get what you're saying. No, I know. Okay, now, what's your favorite holiday? And let's start with the Jewish holidays. I'm also going to ask about secular, but for Jewish holidays, what's your favorite? I know there's a lot to choose from. It's hard to decide sometimes. I kind of, well, I always pick the same one as my favorite, but the ones right after that, they kind of change from year to year. Okay. And can you tell me just a little bit more about why that's your favorite Jewish holiday? I think hearing about why can really be insightful, and it can be nice to compare to what other potential matches have for favorites and why. Okay. Okay, now, what's your favorite secular holiday? You know, it could be really any of them, no judgment at all. I like that one too, and it's right around the corner. Yeah, I guess I like that time of the year too. So I think I associate that holiday with that time of year. Any others? You can add a few others, it's okay. Yeah, okay. Okay. Now for both secular holidays and Jewish holidays, do you have a least favorite, one you really don't like? Yeah, I agree. Not a big fan of Gregorian New Year. It just feels like we're changing the clocks. And on Jewish holiday? Okay. 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 Now we've got some bigger questions again. You know, I threw a few big ones and then some nice softballs there, but let's go do a few more hard-hitting questions. These are a little more serious. Actually, I'm going to change the order of these two. Let me ask you this one first, and then I'll ask you the next one. What's your current career that you're doing now? Is it still... Okay. Okay. And is leading up into the next one, do you think you want to stay in that, or do you think there's something you're envisioning later on down the road? And there's no right answer, okay? It's okay to stay in the current position. There's other things in life besides your work. Oh, I hear you, yeah. Okay. Now, just beyond your career in general, are there any goals you have in life? And honestly, it's really okay if you're not sure. It's okay if your goal in life is to, have a partner or start a family. It's really okay. I feel like this question sometimes stresses people out. They feel like maybe they're not given the right answer. It should be something more grand, and that if it's not grand, then they're not living life right. That's not what this question is about. It's really just to get a sense of what seems important to you right now and how you're envisioning the future, okay? So there's no wrong answer. What are your overall goals in life, you think? I know, it's a big question. I know. No, trust me, it's a hard question for me too. I really like doing the matchmaking. I plan to continue doing matchmaking, career-wise, but then sometimes I'm not sure how to answer that question about what I want out of life beyond that sometimes, you know? I'm kind of going with the flow. Anyway, I don't want to go on and on about myself. Look at me yammering away, but I just want to acknowledge it's a hard question to answer. I even have trouble answering it myself. Okay, so the next questions are kind of more about what you're looking for in a partner. You know, and I might even match you with some people that don't fully match these descriptions. It's just to get a general sense. Is there a certain type of temperament that you're drawn to? You know, do you like people who are kind of quiet and introverted because they're kind of mysterious, honestly? Or do you like people that are a bit loud and social? Do you like people that are really creative? People who are into sports and I don't know, are just kind of like physically strong, are really determined in their convictions and know what they want. You know, there's a lot of things, but I guess describe to me what you imagine you would want in a partner with their temperament and like personality characteristics, okay? And you can just start with one thing and I think it'll lead into another. Okay. Yeah, kindness is important. Makes sense. Anything else? Okay. Okay, now, this is a difficult question because I don't always like to limit people too much in this way, but I know it can be important to some people. So is there a certain level of observance that is important? Like, do you have to only date Orthodox or conservative or reform only? And it doesn't just have to be like those titles, but do you have to, you know, date someone who goes to shul every Friday night? Or do you have to date someone who only eats kosher? Things like that. Okay. So similar to you, yeah, I get what you're saying, but you could maybe a little bit beyond what you, yeah, okay. Okay, now, is there anything else you're looking for or any hard lines? Like you don't want to date someone who's a smoker, or you, I don't know, don't want to date someone who, well, I can't think. What do you think? Is there anything that's either a hard no or just other things you want to share about what you're looking for? Okay. Okay. All right, dear. That's pretty much the quiz I'm doing for now, and this might change over the years. This is the first time I'm doing it, and you're the first person I'm quizzing. Yeah, and that wasn't a mistake, okay? That wasn't just an occurrence. I thought that you would be a really good person to try this out on before I ask other people. And you helped me with figuring out another question I wanted to add and changing the order of 2 of the questions. So thank you for that. Is there anything else you want to share about what you're hoping for this year for matches, or anything about this assessment that we did? Okay, so nothing about the assessment. Anything else about matches? I appreciate that, yeah. I get it. It's good to be open-minded and to go into things that way. Okay. Oh, you want to look at that painting one more time? You know, I just have the one copy, but if you want, I can scan it and print out a copy for you. Okay, yeah. I'll get that to you a little bit later. But here you go. It's my face now. Okay. All right, dear. Let's just do a little breathing exercise for a second, okay? Take a deep breath in. And breathe out. Take another deep breath in. And breathe out. Let's do one more. Deep breath in. And breathe out. I'm sending good vibes your way, dear, okay? I think this is gonna be a good year for you, okay? I think no matter what happens, you're gonna be okay. I think you got through that breakup, and I think you're ready to move on, and I think you're gonna do great things outside of dating, and I think you're gonna find some good matches this year, okay? And have some good experiences. Okay, well, it was so good to see you again. Shana Tova. I hope that this is really an auspicious year for you. I have a good feeling, okay? Okay, I'll see you again soon. Thanks for coming in, dear.